Now let's talk about part writing. Part writing is just assigning various melodies and harmonies that you have in mind to different instruments. Part writing is going to have a lot to do with clashing tones in a couple of ways. The first way goes back to when we were talking about scales and keys. If you have various parts playing at the same time and their chords don't align or their melodies start to clash with one another, that's going to lead to time loss if you don't address that in the pre-recording phase. When it comes to chords, and that's just a group of two or more notes played at the same time, it's just important to define what notes need to be playing simultaneously at that moment of the song. If you need a C chord to be playing at the beginning of the song, which are just the notes C, E, and G in any order, be sure you didn't unknowingly write your ukulele part in that section of the song to be playing C, F, and A. Now it's okay to stack chords on top of each other. You can actually end up with a lot of beautiful extensions of those more basic chords. Again though, these things should be intentional, and if it ends up not sounding good at the playback stage, you've just wasted a lot of time recording those tracks of various instruments. Melody can get even more complicated if you have like two guitars playing melodies back and forth, or maybe kind of overlapping some of their melody notes. You could get certain intervals or distances between notes that really don't sound good. They might be in the same key, the same scale, but just certain notes, they might not blend well together. So again, it's important to have heard this beforehand in a demo or a live context, just to be sure that these things are going to function well in your final recording session. Another thing to consider when it comes to part writing is what octave you're writing your parts in. As you may know, you can play the same note, let's say a C note, in multiple octaves, some higher, some lower. So something to potentially avoid is having all of your parts playing within the same key, but maybe also within the same octave or two as one another. As we're going to talk about later, as we visualize the frequency distribution for human hearing, it's going to be important to carve out certain portions of that frequency distribution if we want to be able to pick out the particular instruments in the mix. So experiment in the demo or live context when it comes to placing your various instrument parts in different octaves. Again, if things are sounding good in the demo or live context, and you haven't even implemented any mixing techniques yet, odds are you're going to be able to get a really solid final production.